All right, guys, we're going to continue our lesson 8. Okay, this is session 4 that says using order and grouping to multiply. Okay, so it says use parentheses to show two different ways to group 2 times 5, 5 times 2. Okay, show the steps to finding each product. Well, gotta use parentheses, right? So which two you want me to put group? The first 2 and 5 or the 5 and 2? Or does it really matter? Doesn't matter, but as long as I do this, okay? When they say parentheses, that doesn't mean this, okay? It doesn't mean that, okay? And it doesn't mean individually, okay? Just make sure that the multiplication sign is in the middle, okay? And then you just work it out. What's 2 times 5? Okay, 10. And what do I have on the outside? 2. So I need to multiply 10 times 2, which is 20. Okay, so then another way to do this, okay, is by putting parentheses around the 5 and the 2 first, right? So what's 5 times 2? 10. And then I have what's on the outside? 2. So I have to multiply 5 times 2, and then I have to multiply the 2 that's out here times 10, which is 20. Okay? It's the strategy that you're using is called associative property, okay? Something like this.
Hey kids, thanks for joining King Parentheses and me today. We are learning more about multiplication, specifically what we call the associative property of multiplication. We would like to get your help. Will you help us? Great, let's get started. The associative property of multiplication says when you are multiplying several digits, you can regroup or reorder the numbers and the product will stay the same. Here we have an example of this concept. 3 times 4 times 2. We are multiplying 3 digits, but where should we start? We could start with 3 times 4, or we could start with 4 times 2. The associative property tells us it does not matter which way we do it. We can choose which group of numbers we start to multiply. That is kind of cool. I want to start by multiplying 4 and 2. This gives us 8. Now we have 8 multiplied by 3. What is 8 multiplied by 3?
Okay, you notice he probably worked out these problems, right? Okay, so instead of just doing it in his head, okay, when you're actually working this out, so look, he wrote this out and then he worked out the problems, okay? So he's not doing this in his head, right? Okay, just be thinking about that when you take your test on Friday.
The answer is 24. Great job. But now I want to try the other way, so let's clear the board. We will start with 3 multiplied by 4, which gives us 12. Now all we have left to do is multiply 12 by 2. 12 times 2 is 24. We got the same answer regardless of which numbers we started multiplying together. This is awesome! Let's look at another problem and see what we can do. This time our friend King Parentheses is helping us group the numbers by putting a parentheses around 2 of the numbers. We can see that we have the same problem on both sides of the board, but with the parentheses grouping different sets of numbers. We learned before that both of these problems should come out to be the same answer or product. King Parentheses just told me that I forgot to tell you something important. Whenever you do a math problem that has parentheses, you need to do what's inside first. Remember, the king parentheses comes first in math problems. So when we work this problem, we need to multiply the numbers in the parentheses first, even though the answers will still be the same. Thank you, king parentheses. We will start with the problem on the left. Remember, the king goes first, so let's multiply 2 by 2. We get 4, and now all we have left to do is multiply 4 by the last number, which is 5. What is 4 times 5? If you said 20, you are correct. Now we can do the problem on the right side of the board, and if the associative property of multiplication is right, we should get the same answer. To start, we remember the king goes first, so we multiply the numbers in the parentheses, 2 times 5. The answer to that is 10. Now all that is left is 10 multiplied by 2. What is 10 times 2? 20. Great job, kids! We can see that both problems give us the same answer no matter how we group the numbers. This is amazing stuff! Thank you so much for joining us today. The king and I have to get going, so...
All right. So we have this problem, okay? This is Joelle bought 2 boxes of bananas for her ice cream shop. There are 8 bunches in each box, and there are 5 bananas in each bunch. Okay, how many bananas did Joelle buy? Okay, so look in the video, they set it up with the 3 numbers, right? And what goes in between? Times, because we're multiplying. See? It says we're going to be grouping to help us multiply. So I have 2 times 8 times 5. Okay. Which 2 numbers do you think I could regroup? Okay. Now another way that this can work too is it doesn't matter in what order I put these numbers in. Okay. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do that too. Okay. Because then I can go 2 times 5 is what? 10. And what's 10 times 8? 80. Okay. If I did the top one, and I just did 8 times 5, what's 8 times 5? 40. And then I have 2 times 40. Okay, well, Ms. Partita, I don't know how to multiply 2 times 40. I says, well, is it when you multiply by 2s, you're just doubling the number, right? 80. Okay. Another way to do this is what's 2 times 4? 8. And then how many zeros do I have? How many zeros do I have? I only have 1 0, so I just put that next to it. Okay. Or I could just add 40 plus 40, right? Which is 80. Whoops. Okay. Either way, I still get the same answer. I could also group this. 2 times 8 is 16, and then 16 times 5, which is probably going to be easier if I put parentheses around 8 times 5, right? Okay. So again, we have this. Whoops. 2 times 8 times 5. We said that we're going to put parentheses around 2 times 8 times 5, which is 40, times 2. 2 times 4 is 8, with 1 0. So look, this is just explaining what we just did. says think of the multiplication problem you can write 2 times 8 times 5. You can use what you have learned about multiplying in any order, okay, and grouping to help make the problem easier. So we start out with 2 times 8 times 5, right? And it says first change the order of numbers, switch 2 and 8. Didn't we just do that? Right? So then now it said now you have 8 times 2 times 5, which they went, hey, you know what? Let's put parentheses around 2 times 5, which was 10, and then they multiply 8 times 10, which we know are 10s, right? And it's 80. Good. Here are 3 other ways. Okay. Just like in the video, he made little diagrams, okay, with the little lines, so you can know what to multiply. Okay, in this case, they went 2 times 8 is 16, and then they brought the 5 down, so now I have 16 times 5 is 8. Okay, probably would want to use that one, huh? No. Okay, here they went 8 times 5 first, which was 40, and then they brought the 2 down, so now I have 2 times 40, which is 80, which that would work. Okay, because 2 times 4 is 8, and then just put a 0 next to it. Okay, or they switched the 8 and the 2, so that way you could multiply the 5 and the 2 together first to get 10, and then you multiply the 8. 8 times 10 is 80. Out of all these, which one do you think is probably the easiest one to use? The middle one? Okay, the middle one, the one on the left, wrong, one on the right. The middle one, right. Could be the middle one. Right. Okay, but I probably would go with this one. Right here. That one. Says you can order and group the factors in the multiplication expression 2 times 8 times 5 in different ways. Okay, so what they did was if they put 8 times 2 together, what's left? So they did this, what's left? 5. Okay, if they went 5 times 2, were they multiplying after that? 8. Okay, and then they grouped 8 times 5 together, and then you go to multiply it after that with the 2. Okay. It says multiply numbers in some parentheses first, right? Do the king, right? King first. Okay, look back to the multiplication equation in problem number 1, which is these right here, which is those. Okay, multiply the numbers in the parentheses, then fill in the missing number, okay? So what's 8 times 2? 16. And then times 5, I get 80. What's 5 times 2? 10. I'm just doing this, look. 10. And then times 8 is 80. Okay, and then what's 8 times 5? 40. Okay, and then times 2, which is also be 80. Okay, it says which of the 3 products in problem number 1 do you think is the easiest to find? Probably, I would say this one. We said this one right there, right? Okay, because we know what 10 times 8 is. Okay, we know our 10s. It's a lot easier to multiply with. So go to 200 and okay, it says change the order of the factors. That means I need to move these numbers around. Okay, okay, and then use parentheses to show one way to find 3 times 7 and times 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch the 3 and the 7, have them switch places. So now I'm going to write it like this: 3 times 3 times 7. Okay, so then I'm going to go 3 times 3, right, is 9 times 7. And you're like, wait a minute, I know my 9s. Plus, I could do the little finger trick, huh? Right? So 3 times 9 times 7 is 63. Right? I have my fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 6. Bring the 7 down, and then I have 3 more fingers left, right? So 1, 2, 3. That's 6, 3, 63. Little trick there. Okay, 63. Could I done this? I mean, you could have done that. That's fine. 3 times 7 is 21, and then I have 3 times 21. But what's easier to multiply, 9 times 7 or 3 times 21? 9 times 7, right? But if I didn't know what 3 times 21 is, when I multiply by 3s, it's just adding the other number 3 times, right? So can I just go on 21 plus 21? Whoops. Plus 21. 1, 2, 3. 2, 4, 6. 63. Okay, so with this problem, it says change the order of factors. I need to maybe switch these two numbers right here, okay? So I can get 4 times 2 times 9. Then it says use parentheses. Well, I'm going to multiply these two first. What's 4 times 2? 8. So now I have 8 times 9. Could use a little finger trick, right? Okay, so what's 8 times 9 then? 72. A lot easier than multiplying 2 times 9, which is 18, times 4. Okay. All right, let's talk about this one. Okay. Because which of the following does not have the same product as 8 times 2 times 4? Okay. What do you think? Is it A? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Well, because 2 times 4 is 8, and then 8 times 8 is 64. 4 times 2 is 8, right? And 8 times 8 is 64, so that can't be it. That does have the same product as this. Okay? 16 times 4? That means they actually group this, whoops. They actually group this together first to get 16, and then 16 times 4. So that does have the same product as this. 8 times 6? So 8 times 6, you're telling me that when I multiply 2 times 4, I get 6. But you said yes, though. You gotta look closely, okay? They're saying that 8 times 6, which is 48, okay, is the same product as 8 times 2 times 4. So if I did this, 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 8 is 64. So does C have the same product? No, it doesn't. So it does answer the question. Which of the following does not have the same product as 8 times 2 times 4? C doesn't. So this would be correct.